Hi, Peter. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, and thanks for inviting me in your chat.
You're welcome. I've been following your blog. You write very interesting articles, thoughtful articles, especially for custom data like ACF and all that stuff. So before we jump into all the technical details, why don't you give a small introduction about your online life?
Well, I started actually in the printing industry and as a consultant. And in that area, we were confronted with the cross-media playing field, and that's why I shifted a little bit to the online world because with my technical background, it was kind of very interesting to do something there as well. So I'm in the middle of print and online.
So you started with print, went to online, then again brought print into the mix of things you do. So now you do both online and print, right?
Well, I'm not really that involved in print production myself, but I'm a publisher and using the obvious online tools around WordPress to be able to build a publishing platform for the printing industry. And we have subscribers and we have partners, and we have created a business model there. To make the needed money every month just to live. But on the other hand, I'm still involved very much with building custom sites for customers. So you could see my day-to-day business in two parts: being a publisher and being a developer.
So what takes more of your time, the online part or the publishing part?
Well, the publishing part is growing and growing. I'm taking over another title, and that means that I'm working with a couple of freelancers. And I have to be an editor for all the content they make, and I think it's about 65% of my time now. So there's little lift for making custom websites, but I still enjoy it.
And what do you think, why the publishing part is increasing? Is the number of players going down, like the competition going down?
Print is going down, but still there are many very interesting developments around online printing companies, which are highly depending on online business models, etc., etc. So although print is decreasing, it's still a very interesting playing field, and about all these aspects we publish.
Okay, so let's focus on the online part of the things that you do. Now, in our pre-podcast document, we discussed like lower cost websites, like $1,500 or so. It's not your cup of tea or coffee, whatever. So are you bored of doing this, or you have never done this and always focused on high value website client opportunities? So what's the backstory behind this?
Well, I've been doing a lot of, let's say, lower cost websites in the past. Okay. But the thing is quite simple, that I like to be challenged, and with those, let's say, couple of pages and couple of posts websites, I don't feel very much challenge, and those customers, let's say indeed around 500, 1,500 euros or dollars or something like that, they are still very demanding customers, because they don't know to translate that amount of money in the amount of time which I can spend to them. So it's not only the price, but it is also the skill levels of those kind of customers who know virtually nothing about what I need to do to get them satisfied. So that is why I shifted. I try to shift a little bit to the let's say mid-range or higher end applications.
Yeah, that's true. Like for a lower, estimated project or lower value website, clients do ask more questions vis-a-vis, a high value, because
Yeah.
for a high value client, that website is an investment, but for a lower end, it's a expense.
Cost.
So
Yeah, exactly.
that's the difference. And every
Yeah.
seasoned entrepreneur, goes from low to high. So I thought you only started from high. So you follow.
No.
So you followed the normal curve of going up, up and up, which is good. So a typical low cost website would have like bunch of pages and posts. However, to define a high value proposition website, now I'm going to quote you here. You wrote this in the document, that your quote, I just try to offer websites which are translations of business processes. Now, can you elaborate this in the light of having a high value proposition website?
Yeah, I can give you just a clear example. At the moment, an exhibitor came to me and she said, I have a couple of exhibitions, I have exhibition partners, I have participants, and all those kind of stuff has to be mixed in a way that she could promote her activities as being an exhibitor organization. And in the past, she has had a couple of websites with just pages and posts, and that was a highly maintenance factor, because every post was an exhibition, and only in a post everything had to be written down. And then I said we could do that another way, and I asked her, please explain the way this business works, and then I can design a kind of model around your business, and then we can talk about is this the way you want it. So if you have an exhibition, you have exhibitors, and those two are connected to each other, but they are independent in data records. You have X exhibitions, but you have Y exhibitors, and that is what I try to combine without being too technical to those people, because also they don't understand that they want their business model to be translated in the website, but they don't understand anything about POTS or ECF or relational connections. I just make it for them, and that's a challenge, and also a challenge in the communication with those customers.
Yeah, because I was coming to the technical translation of what you were saying, like building custom fields and then establishing relationship between them and having multiple custom post types. Now that would how you would explain to a developer, but here you're explaining to a customer where you are not going to use terms like custom fields, custom post types, etc.
No.
So once you got that client convinced, did the project estimate also go up?
Yeah, the base price, of course, is higher than these $1,500 you mentioned, and that's about 3,000 or maybe 3,500 or something like that. But they don't want to be involved in all the technical backside of it. They just have a contract with me, and they pay me about 200, 300, depending on how much they need to edit and to change their websites per month. And that I'm doing the content maintenance for them. And if I charge them, let's say 250 euros each month, that's a recurring revenue of 3,000 euros a year. And that's fine for me, because then they don't have a very, very high starting price of their website. It still is in an average mid-range price level. And after the website has been launched, I will take care of the rest.
Okay, now let me rewind a little, like your days of low cost websites, or even my days of, just doing low cost websites. Now, this is a vicious cycle. A lot of people get stuck in this cycle of just handling low cost projects and not moving to the next level. So how would you advise a person to reach out and make a contact with a high value website opportunity? Because you already just explained, like, you converted a low paying or less paying client into a high paying client by explaining her the importance of building the relationship between the data. But how would you reach out and explain, or maybe get contracts for high value proposition from the start itself?
Yeah, that's difficult, and I don't have one answer for this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I try to find a challenge for myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when I'm talking to randomly anybody about wanting a website,
Mm-hmm.
I just start a conversation. Okay, what challenges do you have? What do you expect from the website? And once I start to notice that it is just more than "hello, here I am," then it starts getting more interesting for me to do. So what I noticed, and that also has to do with my increasing publishing activities, that I'm building less websites because of less available time. And it is a kind of luxury, not completely, but it is a kind of luxury that I can say no to the persons who just want pages and posts, and yes to the ones who say, well, I need a website which helps me to do my business. It's a question of talking and negotiating, and that is why maybe you come to that point later. That is why I followed the course WordPress Elevation, and that helped me a lot to investigate the needs in one or two initial meetings with those customers. And once they do not meet those expectations, well, I cannot say they are out, but if they meet those expectations, of course, then they are in.
And is your target client local in your country or worldwide?
Yeah, it's local. It's not. No, it's just in the Netherlands.
So how do you make your first contact? Is like a phone call, email, or you prefer talking face to face in a coffee shop or some?
Well, that's depending. Most of the time, the first contact is an email or a phone, and then I arrange a meeting of maximum of 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my set of basic questions, which I learned from WPE. And once I went through it, and I have the feeling, okay, this is one for which I can do the job. Then we negotiate the way how I'm going to make the offer. And the funny thing is, once you learned this method, your offer will be superior in comparison with others. And I'm pretty sure that once I send the offer, that I will get the job, because I don't forget any detail anymore in a kind of offer like that. If you are on the lower part of the market and you just send an email, hi, it was nice meeting you, etc., etc., I can build you the website for 700 euros and like to hear from you. Bye, kind regards. That's not an offer. So, as being a previous consultant in the printing industry, I also try to be very accurate in defining the offer in a part of consultancy, and the building part. So once we are going to speak about the way the business process of my customer has to be translated in technology, that's two parts actually, and they also pay for this kind of consultancy.
So when you give this offer, like the first offer to the client, prospective client, what details do you add in most of the contract? Like, do you offer free business analysis, or you analyze their existing business?
It's never free.
Okay.
No, it's never free. I have recently I had a golf course, and they had an existing website with a booking and etc., but they were not satisfied anymore, and it was not a secure website. A lot of stuff was going on. They had about 55 plugins, and and they wanted me to have a look before I could make an offer. And I said, okay, I will do that, and I will charge you money for that. And
if the discovery phase, right?
Yeah, and if we agree to go further, and I make the offer, then I subtract the first initial phase of checking the website, and that's how I work. So I never go working 1 or 2 hours to check for a website and then make them a report, and then they say thank you, bye, and go to somebody else.
So this is the procedure that you follow for a client with an existing website, like you offer them a paid discovery session, which can be further included in the estimate later down the line if the project is taken by you. But what do you do when you have a client that does not have a website? Obviously he has a business and he tells you about his business, like, this is my business, hey, can you build a site for me? What all things that you put in that initial offer where you also have the final price tag for that type of a client?
Yeah, it's of course it is depending on the way the client can explain his or her business needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I charge for the hours. We are talking and negotiating about the way I have to use technology to translate his or her business needs into the website. And that's not 50-50. If let's say if it is a website around 3,000 or 4,000 euros, it is not 2,000 euros consultancy, but it can be around 750,000 euros, about, let's say, 10 hours of consultancy, giving advices, and that's also a break point. If that customer says, okay, thank you very much for the consultancy, but I decide to go another way, it's up to her or him to do that. But still, I spend my time for consultancy.
Say, for example, you have a prospective client and you're going to give like 15,000 euro as the final price. Now, do you provide the client a milestone breakdown in the first offer letter itself? Like, we will charge you 1,000 euros for the discovery phase, and then 5,000 maybe for the design, and then 5,000 for the development, and 5,000 maybe for building the complex feature that you want. Do you provide this breakdown as well?
Yeah, I make detailed offers. Yes.
And that offer is like the detailed price wise, or you price whole thing by the amount of hours that you're going to put in? Like, you also mentioned like it will take 20 hours of my production time and I charge this amount per hour.
No, I don't mention hourly rates, because consultancy can be a different hour rate compared to just setting up the server and installing workers and so on. I only offer project based prices. And then divided in different pieces, also for maintenance and hosting, etc., etc.
Since your clients are local, I still don't think so you will print and give the contract or the proposal in hand. I believe you still email them.
Yeah, I give them a PDF, and once they visit here, then I have it printed out. and we go through all the pages in details, and I ask them, do you agree on this? So that there are no, let's say, doubts, or everything has to be clear.
Okay, and one very important thing, like bargaining clients. Now, when you are new, when you're making like low cost websites, then you do get sucked up into bargaining, ecosystem. But when you are working at a higher level price tag, I guess bargaining doesn't find any place, right?
No, but I must say sometimes people try to get a lower price. That's part of the game. It is, and then I just do this, and I say, okay, what do you want? Do you want 5% discount, or 10 or 20, and do you want an extra cup of coffee? I always try to make a little bit of a joke out of that, depending on the moment that he or she is trying to get something off the price. And I must say that negotiating about the price is at the lower end of the market more usual than in the little bit higher end of the market. And I don't overprice, and I always say this is the base price, and then we will look the next couple of months about how we are doing, and maybe you even get, as a customer, interested in the back end of the solution, and that you are able to do things yourself. I am not in the market for doing everything for every customer. If I have a customer who says, well, I think I can manage, please help me with a course, and help me when I need it, and we will get on by ourselves. It's completely depending on the customer.
Yeah, because this is very common when you are not just dealing with the lower end clients, but also with the higher end clients, because higher end will also ask for higher discounts as well. So now you've got the contract. Let's focus on the building part now. Since you are heavy on use of custom data solutions on WordPress, how do you decide on the custom data structure for, say, specific project in more simpler terms? Custom post types, custom fields, and relationship between those fields.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that relational database publishing is very old, actually, and used in management information systems all around the world, and without even knowing that you use combined data tables in any kind of situation. If you are in a higher end web shop or a bank account or whatever, your holiday brochures online, you're always in this kind of stuff. Within WordPress, actually, it looks like it is just starting now that WordPress is becoming a real relational content management system, and that is why. I'm still also in the middle of looking for the right set of tools. I want to limit the choices, because shifting from here to there, you will never be a specialist in one. And I started with Advanced Custom Fields Pro. But in my opinion, didn't have a very logical way of making relationships between tables. And pods, although their backend doesn't look that fancy, but it made more sense to me to use pods, because first of all, it was all integrated. You can make your fields, you can make your custom post type itself, you can easily make the relations, and not unimportant to mention, they were very fast with making connection with Themer. Maybe later on we will talk about page builders and so on. But that set of tools, until now, it convinced me that that is the way to go for my customers. And I still have a couple of websites with Advanced Custom Fields Pro, and they have some add-ons to make many-to-many relationships a little bit easier. But, well, I still did not decide 100% yet, but I try to follow everything as good as possible. And as I said, it is funny that full relational database publishing is just now starting to get off in WordPress.
Yeah,
for building it. WooCommerce, of course, also uses it, but for developers to make relational solutions.
I think custom data stuff has been there for a few years, but it's now flourishing more because of tools like pods and even integration with Beaver Themer. Even people who are not heavy into PHP can still use them and leverage them and build custom data websites. And ACF is a good example. It's been there for quite some time. Pods has been there. Pods is also my favorite, just like yours. Why? Because one plugin can help you do custom post type and custom field. Because if you're going to use a plugin for custom fields, then why write custom post type with the manual code? Obviously, you can do that because these things should be controlled by a plugin, whether you want to make your custom plugin or you want to use something like Pods or ACF, custom post type UI. There's so many of them because it's easier to control their functionality from a plugin rather than, dumping in the manual code. So
but also the most important for me was when Themer came out, and that you could interactively make your they have a lot of confusing words like layouts, templates, designs, etc. But you for the first time you didn't need to program in PHP to make your designs to work with custom post types and fields.
Themer is just like Marvel's superhero. It's just the problem is a lot of people don't know what Themer does, because when you install Themer, it's like just you're staring a blank screen. You don't know what to do with it. But once you discover what Themer can do,
very powerful.
It can actually, you can build any kind of website using Beaver Themer, like any kind of database relationship setup, any custom. It's just, it does require little bit more learning curve, but then if you compare it with implementing an ACF via manual hooking code and displaying the values in the front end, as compared to that, Themer makes it so easy. You just have to drag and drop. And if you're using Pods, it's even more easy because Pods itself has a Themer add-on that makes your life more pleasurable, making custom data websites. It's flourishing. So besides ACF, you've been using that, you love Pods. Have you tried the newer one, which is called MetaBox?
That's a nice question that you ask that, because a couple of months ago they had some kind of offer to buy the whole stuff for I think it was $69 or $89 or something like that.
They had that lifetime offer, I think.
A lifetime offer, and I just hit the button because I was curious. But my first impression was really, I don't know where to start, because it was so huge and so many random files and add-ons everywhere, and so because of that confusion, I didn't want to spend too much time upfront to discover the power of it, and I suppose there is some kind of power there, but I don't know yet.
I know few people who use it and they say good things about it. I'm yet to spend my time there, because I'm perfectly happy and satisfied with pods as of now. And
Yeah.
there's another old horse in this ecosystem, which is called tool sets. What about that?
Sorry, what?
There's
What?
another tool in this ecosystem called tool set. Have you used that?
Toolset. Yeah. I must say that I've been using Types at the moment. That Types was still a free plugin in the repository,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been buying that Fuse plugin. I think 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And even that one was for me at the moment that I did not really understand how to make these templates in Fuse. I had the impression, and I don't know how it is now, but I had the impression that it was too complex at that time compared to what Themer is doing now. And the funny thing is that they didn't support Themer combined with Types. They just went to support Themer in Fuse at the paid version, and then you have two things actually trying to do the same kind of work. So I moved away. Let's say I never made one solution in this software. So and now I even decided not to look at it anymore.
Yeah, I've not dwelled much into toolset, but I think that Types plugin is for registering custom post type, custom fields, and they have that views plugin to output that data, right?
Yeah, that's the split they make, and now Types is not free anymore.
Okay, so if you are supposed to make a new website with custom data, custom fields, custom post types, what will you use now, or maybe what you've been using for last 1 month or maybe 6 months out of the box?
Well, I think Pots and Themer until now will still be my choice.
Wow, we have a same answer. Yeah, actually, I've been using Pods for quite some time. Even for registering a simple custom post type, I would prefer to use Pods rather than going to generate WP and generate the code for custom post type and then dumping into the. But I do follow a little trick, when I send my client with the website, I actually hide the Pods settings box in the WordPress dashboard. So he can update the Pods plugin, but he cannot change the settings of Pods because one change will mess up everything. And you know it very well, right?
Yeah, that is that's good that you mention that. Once you negotiate with your customer that he or she is really going to do something in the back end, that you have to warn them even more than what should be the case with just pages and posts. And I agree with you that you could switch off the existence of pods in the dashboard and just using general global settings to do stuff. And then you need some PHP stuff to copy in your functions.
No, what I do is there's one hook function. I just put that piece of code in the functions.php file. So when I have to make those changes, I just delete that code or uncomment and then make the changes and get back, because it's kind of dangerous. As such, it's dangerous for adventurous clients to mess up your website, considering we are in the Beaverbill or Elementor world where they can just drag and drop and ruin your design. So
same thing, yes.
And I think Beaver Builder guys are also working on something to, have a better control when you deliver sites to the clients, like turn off editing options. There's Wallace inline editor that helps you do that. Like a client can only edit or change an image or change a text. He cannot change he cannot move the modules here and there, which is kind of good because it's just like a minefield and he will blow up the whole site.
Yeah, but that is funny. I have a customer who had never seen anything in the back end of WordPress,
I've
and
got many. I've got many. They won't even log in. But
and
there are
just
those are not
yeah, and just
troublesome. I love those kind of customers. But you know what? There are a lot of customers who wants to become DIY, and they would say, "Oh, I just updated it. It was nothing. Now I'm gonna try and design this." So that's kind of scary part. So I'll just tell them, "Yeah, you can do anything, but then I'll charge you to fix it. It won't be free."
yeah.
So they pull their hands off.
Yeah, but I have a couple of them who are using Beaver Builder just in the front end, and they are carefully. They give me a phone call and they say, Peter, I want to change this and that, and I am in the screen now. Could you please check it? Am I in the right direction? And uh, okay, this is a customer who is just able to learn the stuff, and she is carefully, but she manages without touching the dashboard, and she changes images of a slider or maybe a call out section or something like that. So well, that's okay with me.
So when you build these custom data websites, do you work all alone or do you have some team of developers, be it remote, subcontracted, or permanent employees?
Yeah, you asked that. I work together with a couple of designers. I'm not a designer, well, if I get a logo with some colors and maybe some typography, then because I've seen many websites in the past 10 or 20 years. So if they don't have any design, then I ask, okay, what do you want? And the funny thing is that those customers who want to translate their business process into a website are, in my case, less demanding in the creative part than that they are more eager to have conversion through their website. And when I get a logo, then they say, okay, make something nice. It's not that important as it looks modern. It should be available on mobile, etc., etc., etc. Then I don't need to go to a designer. But if I have nothing, I don't even have a logo. It's a new company. Mostly they don't come to me. They go to the designer. But I forward them to the designer first before I start my thing. I don't sell myself as a designer.
Okay.
But I do the development.
Okay. So custom data. Now, this thing is exploding in WordPress ecosystem as of now, just like Beaver Builder and other page builders. And because of more tools, things are becoming easier. Now, what future changes or direction you envision in this regard of custom data becoming more normal or regular thing on a WordPress website?
Okay, yeah. As I said, relational database publishing is already very old and very common. Actually, the thing is that you need to act more like a consultant to translate the business process into a good relational data model, because that really fixes the way the application works. Okay, you can repair it if you don't understand each other, but that can be a costly activity. You really need to know how the business process works and then translate it. So I think consultancy in that respect is getting more and more important than using the technical tools to build it. Because once you have this entity relation model, as they call it, the ER model, if you have it, then I think in the future, and maybe even pods will become more modern, easier to configure, etc., etc. They have their example with advanced custom fields, so they have a user interface to make it better on the back end. So I think, yes, consultancy, and that is one of my old things when I started working for my own, give good advices will become more important than just building.
Okay, so pods is your favorite and my favorite as of now. Do you see any other tool that could replace pods in coming future? Like, do you have eyes on some specific plugin service that will probably be a good alternative to pods?
Well, I keep looking at ACF, of course.
Going
But-
back again and again.
Yeah, but the other two things you mentioned with Metabox and Toolset, I will keep them a little bit in my mind. But ACF and POTS, I think, are at this moment the two tools which will be used for that. And well, I follow all discussions about advantages and disadvantages and the speed issue between the two, etc., etc., etc. So, I'm actually I like the fact that there are not that many tools.
Yeah, and there are not many because it's not easy to build such kind of a actually framework tool, to be honest. Because okay, so one big thing that is going in WordPress ecosystem as of now is called Gutenberg. I'm sure you've heard about it, right?
Yeah, I've headaches.
I actually don't even let Gutenberg news pass into my one ear so that it doesn't get processed in the head. let it release with version 5, and then we'll see. Then we'll take the bull with the horn. So according to you, I'm sure you've heard, listened, maybe even tried Gutenberg. So do you think Gutenberg would impact custom data websites in some form, maybe positive, negative?
Well, to be honest, when I saw your question, I wrote down, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Even the first issue with Gutenberg is, of course, where does the customer do its stuff? Because we are working with page builders, that's an extra complicating factor. If you just use WordPress without a page builder, it can be very nice to work block oriented because you have more flexibility in the way you make your content. Actually, you're also designing. So that's also already confusing. Is a customer able to design based on blocks? But if you add a page builder to it, where is the balance in making content, and where do you do the design? Do you do that in the back end, in the editor, or do you do it in the front end? Is it in the templates? So that is the first step of confusion which came to me. And if you pull it one step further, like in your question, if it is going to be used in pods or post types, etc., I would suggest what you said before, to limit all the possibilities for customers and just edit fields of records instead of moving and shifting with blocks or beaver builder elements, etc., etc. So in that way, Gutenberg will be an extra complicating factor, and I really don't know where the future of Gutenberg will go. I see so many add-ons already. That is so funny. Then when
those are called blocks, right? Now it's just like they're developing a new ecosystem with a different name. Like normally we want to do something, there's a plugin for that, right? But with Gutenberg, do you want to do something? There's a Gutenberg blog add-on plugin. You've added 2-3 extra words to it, but then hey, there's an add-on block for this. So I am envisioning like there would be an add-on block for Gutenberg to show, say, custom field value.
Yeah, it's already there.
Oh, I didn't know about it.
There are already about 20, 30 add-ons for Gutenberg, and I don't think that is that well, that is not helping the WordPress ecosystem to be clearly understandable for all kinds of users, for high-end developers, but also not for customers. So well, we had the editor, and that was it. And you could extend the editor with a tiny MCE thing, a little bit more for making tables and kind of those things, but for just one or two extras. But now there are already about 30 add-ons for Gutenberg,
And
no.
these add-ons are basically building a parallel ecosystem in the Gutenberg world, which is kind of a, I don't know, it's not a positive step, to be honest. Gutenberg itself could be positive, but where people are building add-ons, obviously it's not their fault. Now they've given the Gutenberg base, so people will build something over it. But it's just like they're building a parallel ecosystem from the ground up when they already have an established system of plugins, whether being free or paid doesn't matter, but every plugin provides you with some functionality. So yes, when I asked you this question, like how does Gutenberg affect the custom data, you said, I don't know. Guess what? You are not the not the only one. A lot of people say,
I'm happy. I'm happy that I'm not alone, because it could also be my brain who's missing something.
Either someone would say, I don't know, or someone, I just don't want to talk about it. Or what should I explain to my clients when the version updates up, because they are going to go to add new post. Hey, did you do something? My site is broken. Like, I don't see my editor, right? Because editor has that familiarity with the WordPress editor, the normal Word editor, Microsoft Word. So it's easier for them to get into that. I don't know how easy it would be for them to work in Gutenberg mode.
Yeah, but I really don't know, because Matt doesn't give he doesn't really say everything about why he is doing this. But I think maybe I don't know. It's just a suggestion that he's a little bit afraid of more and more competition, like from stuff like Wix and all that kind of easier stuff, and maybe even from page builders. I don't know his mind in this.
Well, I think as of now, Gutenberg works in the post editor, but maybe some months or years down the line, you may be using Gutenberg to build everything, be it header, footer, maybe just rename theme. And I think they should have acquired Beaver Themer and put it there.
Let's wait and see. The thing is that we can have 499, 4910, 4911, and we can still go on for a very long time. And actually, I'm hoping for that.
499. Yeah, we've got till 99, right? So let's see, fingers crossed. Everyone is a little confused what the direction would be. Like, if you are a hobby standalone user, it won't affect you much. But when you have like hundreds of clients and you've got to train them suddenly, hey, it's just like, hey, you're going to live in a new country when WordPress 2.5 5.0 updates. So it's just like that. So let's see. Let's stop the Gutenberg talk, because it's like endless and without any conclusion, because we can't actually decide till the real thing 5.0 comes out. So fingers crossed, hopefully everything would be all right the WordPress way. So let's dive into your toolbox. What are your current 5 favorite tools that power your online side of your business?
Yeah, okay. I wrote down POTS and ACF, of course. That is another favorite of mine is Gravity Forms. I see on many Facebook groups every now and then comes the question, what kinds of forms plugin should I use? And for me, there is only one, and that's Gravity Forms.
Yeah. But with Gravity Forms, the thing is, it is not actually idle. You won't give that option to someone who just need one, contact form, simple contact form, because it's with Gravity Form, it's just like the position of Beaver Themer. Like
Yeah,
Gravity Form can do so much, just not just contact form functionality that you enter the detail and it's going to send you email. You can do payments, you can show custom fields, you can
yeah, okay.
input the data and dump it into custom fields. So that's another.
Yeah, but even that a contact form like the simple and easy contact form in Beaver Builder, in my opinion, isn't friendly enough and doesn't do any conversion. So Gravity Forms offer you, if you understand how to trigger a visitor to use the contact form to be friendly, and that is why I use Gravity Forms, because also that is in my discussion with the customer in his or her business model, the way the visitor would like to be approached. And that is why Gravity Forms is so great, because the flexibility is more than 100%.
And a lot of people have started using even third-party SaaS tools to capture that kind of data, like this ConvertBox, ConvertFlow, even
Yeah.
ConvertFox. I use ConvertBox, pretty handy. And
Okay.
I've been a Google Forms user for quite some time, say in case I want to have more data to be, captured from the client. So
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer to show the email address. They would email me at a specific address and then I share the link
Mm-hmm.
of Google. Well, that's like two-step process, but in case, because these people are also getting into artificial intelligence of chatbots and, that pop-ups that you see on the screen, like Drift, Intercom, there's so many
Yeah.
services that are kind of not a replacement of a contact form, but I've seen it gives you a faster way of communication.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, of course.
so which is the next one?
Yeah, the next one is main WP for maintenance and plugin and software updates, etc., with about 60 websites in my clients. I need a management tool, and I made the choice to do main WP. I had Infinite before, and but I like the WordPress dashboard of main.
No love for managed WP.
No, I never tried it. It is what I hear from people who are using that is it's about the same.
Yeah, it's just like main WP. You install it on your own server.
Yeah,
Managed WP is hosted. It's free, but
yeah,
they charge you per website, per feature, that additional feature that you want. Like they charge you $2 per website for backups and restore, something like that. So they
yeah.
don't have that fixed pricing of one project. They have fixed pricing for number of websites per website
Yeah.
you're gonna use.
Actually, I have my own VPS running on Plesk,
Mm-hmm.
and the latest version of Plesk 17, revision 8 or something like that. They are offering more and more and more WordPress tools, also to do maintenance and updates and so on. So maybe in the near future, I will skip main WP and do maintenance in the backend of my server. So Plesk is my favorite management tool to create customers, domains, subdomains, staging, environments, and cloning and syncing and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, what's the next one?
The last one is Scythe. Maybe you know Scythe. That's a nice tool to make, let's say, all your activities in a dashboard. Let's say your RSS feed, your Facebook activities, your Google activities, your MailChimp activities, and that all comes together in a dashboard each client can access, and they can just analyze anything they are doing on any online channel they are using. And you can build up the dashboard with just shifting in the blocks they use. If they think LinkedIn is very important to them, you can put that in the low of the upper right corner or left corner, and that's their let's say online activities dashboard.
Is it an online tool?
It's an online tool, yes.
What's the URL? What's the URL?
Sife.com.
Okay.
CIFE.com.
Okay, that's a new one for me. That's why I asked.
Oh, okay, well, I taught you something new.
Okay, so what is your recommended web hosting? I guess you are using VPS server, right?
Yeah, I have a contract with a company here in the neighborhood, and they have their servers installed at Amsterdam Internet Exchange, one of the more important backbones here in Holland. So I don't have, let's say, one of the well-known commercial names like VP Engine or something like that. So it's a privately owned company.
This kind of web hosting suits you as well because your clients are local. So a local hosting with local servers would guarantee better speed and better consistency compared to servers hosted in, say, Singapore or USA.
Yeah.
So the next question, I already know the answer, but I'll still ask you, what is your recommended page builder?
Well, it wouldn't be a surprise to you that is Beaver Builder, of course. And
I won't ask you why you love Beaver Builder. I will ask you why you don't love number 2, number 3 in page builder ecosystem.
Now, the thing is, when I discovered Beaver Builder, I was a Genesis user before, Genesis.
Same
here. Genesis. And I used the child theme dynamic. And that was for a long time my favorite toolkit to make websites. But when I saw Beaver Builder, I really was confused about the fact, well, should I make that switch again? Because I really don't want, that's a very interesting aspect when customers come with their own themes from Theme Forest or Elegant Themes or something like that. And because they see something and they say, I like it. And that's a difficult part of the negotiation about when customers understand a little bit more about the choices they want to make for the tires of their cars, or the fabric of the chairs in the car. They try to influence a little bit the design. Then it is not always that easy to say, okay, I like your design, but I'm not going to use the theme. I'm going to build that in my own tool. I'm not even talking about Beaver Builder.
Yeah,
I said we have tools in which we can design anything.
Yeah, this
and
is
the thing is that you have to convince them that you say, I understand that tool for 100%. And once I have to use the theme you choose, I have to spend too many hours
understanding that theme.
That theme. And if they really want it, then I say, okay, I'm going to charge you for 4 hours because I have to study.
I actually don't take projects who come with this writer. You have to use this theme. You have to use this tool. No, tools would be mine. Solution would be what you want. So that's how it works. But then funny story about Beaver Builder is like I showed Beaver Builder to someone and that person said, hey, this is cheating. That is easy way to make websites. I said, yes. Now, the thing is, we can talk Beaver Builder endlessly because obviously we like Beaver Builder and that's like normal tool sets. We'll move to the next question, which is email marketing. So which is your favorite email marketing service or service?
Yeah, that's also obvious, I suppose. I just use MailChimp for that, and I especially...
We've got so much similarities here.
Yeah, and I use it especially in my publishing activities. I have a newsletter with about 1,200 subscribers And every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m., all those people get the newsletter, which is a combination of news to happen in the coming week and past news. And well, for me, that's enough. I use the RSS feed to feed the campaign. And I write a little bit of personal notes before the RSS feed appears in MailChimp.
Okay, let me discover something new here. Like any other upcoming tools that have caught your eye, or you want to dive fully into them?
Don't know.
Same here.
don't really know.
We'll see when it releases, right?
Yeah. You know, I think that is very funny that although we are distant from each other, that we are about in the same kind of playing field in the way we look at the business and so on. That's very funny to experience that now during this talk. And I've learned to limit the number of tools just because of the fact that I want to spend as much time as possible for the customer to make his or her solution, instead of learning an enormous amount of tools.
Yeah.
Who is going to pay that time? Not the customer.
I've gone through that thing. Now I don't like to spend too much time learning a new tool unless the tool I'm using now does not work with me on a foundation level. It may not work on a finer detail level. Obviously you can put in custom code and fix few things, but if a tool is working on a foundation level, there's no reason to jump the ship and then discover how many rooms that ship has. And
right.
It was amazing talking to you. Thank you, Peter, for your time and coming on this podcast. Have a good day.
Yeah, we spent a little bit more than an hour, I suppose.
No worries. More the better.
Okay.